Arrowhead Studios took a massive risk when they decided to take on Helldivers 2 as a project and move in that direction. Historically, this studio has only done projects that are not anything like Helldivers 2 in terms of the target market and play style. Now, the gameplay loop may have been very similar. You go in, do, complete missions, come back. It's almost like a roguelike, but they are not in any way the same game or in terms of scope and target market that Helldivers 2 is. So let's just jump into it. Let's look at some of their past games that they've made, and we can talk about some of those games. Their oldest release on Steam is actually a game called Magicka, and Magicka is just a classic dungeon crawling type of game. So it's top down. It's based on Norse mythology. You're a wizard and you cast spells. You know, it's very much like a dungeon crawler, and that's fine. And a lot of people really, really liked it. It's almost silly, right? Now let's go a little bit more recent. Let's jump into Gauntlet. So Gauntlet is an old game that has been around for a long time. People have been playing it for many, many years. Its release date was in 2014. It's another dungeon crawler, right? You're crawling through dungeons and accomplishing things, wizards, fantasy. See the theme here? Let's go one step further. The next game that they released was Helldivers 1. This one is a little different in that it is on theme. It's science fiction, built in the future. This is a top-down dungeon crawling-esque game. Elements are very similar to Helldivers 2, right? You have the same guns, the same enemies, the play style where it's really hectic and crazy. They took what they learned from fantasy games and then they applied it to sci-fi. Helldivers 1 had an all-time peak of 6,691 concurrent players. That's a pretty small number compared to later on. People are still playing this game. We have 1,500 people playing it right now as I'm making this video, and that's gone up with the release of Helldivers. It was mildly popular, and so they decided to double down and make Helldivers 2. Now, the jump here, this is so critical. The jump between Helldivers 1 and Helldivers 2 is massive, right? If you're used to making top-down shooters and you choose to make a third-person shooter, wildly different, right? Massive online. You have this ship that you're on, higher end graphics. Everything has to be updated because everything's up close now. An easier game to make to this massive project. And that leap of faith, right? This jump is a huge, huge risk. And this is what I'm talking about. They, of course, did all their research, but there's a degree of luck that happened with Helldivers where the community just embraced this game. And taking a giant risk like that, where you're going from something you know and love and making something that's pretty vastly different, is a huge risk, especially for a smaller game studio. So that's the risk that they took. Now let's talk about the results that had. All right, so this is just Steam statistics. This is not PlayStation statistics. Helldivers 2 had an all-time peak of 458,000 players, which is absolutely crazy. You never see that level of play for a game, and it's still concurrent, right? The 24-hour peak is over 200,000, 182,000 people playing right now. That is an insane success for a game. And I'm not saying, when I say that they got really lucky, I'm not saying they didn't put in the work, and I expect that they would have, you know, when they were building this game, they were, you know, expecting 70,000 people to play at max. They just got lucky in that people really embraced it. It's very easy to make content about it because it's hilarious. All these ragdoll effects, all these changes in Helldivers. It's an amazing game. I can't recommend it enough. Go check it out. Sure, they got lucky and they really designed this beautiful game out of their element, and they really just came up with something beautiful, and it's awesome. Just go play Helldivers 2. The other thing that I want to mention is just the general feeling of when you're playing the game, associated with like all the voice lines, all the like hidden agenda stuff going on, just captivating, and it's just so fun to be a part of. It feels good to be a part of something like this and be able to enjoy it. Everyone in the community is just so fun to be around. It's pretty rare that you run into gremlins online. I feel like Helldivers 2 is this once in every 5-10 years that we have a game that tons of people are playing that just really makes me want to go and play some more. So go check out Helldivers 2. Go have fun. We'll see you next time.